This is a fan-generated show. If you'd like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our new Rumble channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm thrilled to announce the release of my new book, Obama's True Legacy, How He Transformed America. There's a reason why Mike Huckabee calls it a ferocious and chilling read. Order it now at Amazon.com or at FrontPageMag.com. Good evening. Welcome to the Glazov Gang. Tonight, another fantastic program with another fantastic guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember we are a fan-generated program. We also continue to be persecuted by the deep state. Lots of shadow banning and other things. So please help us out as much as you can. Some of the things you can do: subscribe to our YouTube and Rumble channels and press instant notifications. Go to jbglazov.com and subscribe to our newsletter there. If you're in a generous mood, donate and help us out at jamieglazov.com. You can follow us on X at Jamie Glazov, follow us on Facebook at Jamie Glazov, and most importantly, go to liveuptofreedom.com and support the wonderful Annie Cyrus. What an honor, privilege, and pleasure it is to have, back by popular demand, Jeff Crouere, the host of a Louisiana-based program, and a great program at that, Ringside Politics. Jeff, welcome back to the Glazov Gang.
Hey, my friend. How you doing, Jamie?
Not too bad. I'm hanging in there.
Good.
Well, Jeff, I think we both know where to start. What is going on with this Trump-Elon thing?
You know, it's sad to see, Jamie. A lot of people were predicting there'd be a breakup at some point because they're both billionaires. They're both powerful. They're both used to being the top dog. There may be two of the most well-recognized individuals in the world. Donald Trump is probably the most recognized, and Elon Musk is certainly in the top 5. So, I mean, it's just something that had been predicted, that at some point there would be a clash. They were able to keep it together during the campaign, thankfully, and Elon Musk did help him. But I want to clear something up. I think Donald Trump could have won without Elon Musk. I think Elon Musk helped Donald Trump win, and he helped him in the effort to eliminate fraud, waste, and abuse. I think Doge was incredibly important. I'm sorry to see that they're now at war, and I hope at some point they can come back together. But right now, it looks pretty bleak, Jamie.
Well, just even with you saying that, when you said, I want to clear something up, you're clearing that up because Elon said something, right?
Right.
So in some ways, this is a feud war, but at the same time, Trump is throwing a couple baby punches, a couple little slaps, couple little humorous, Trump is Trump. But Elon is going really into the mud.
Right.
Bringing up Epstein, talking about impeachment, talking about how he wouldn't have won without me and all. This is pre-teenage shit. Excuse the language. I know it's a we try to keep it PG, but this is pre-teenage. This is, I don't know, is there something wrong? I mean, I got some things to say about Musk, but this is dirty. So just over a budget plan? Okay, so you disagree on some cuts and you disagree. Why go that low?
I think that when his friend, who had been selected, I guess, as administrator of NASA, was removed, when the EV credits were taken out of this reconciliation bill, that sort of sparked this response. And then it just, as you said, I mean, he's gone nuclear. And Trump has made some comments, but certainly not to the same degree that Musk has. I would recommend that Donald Trump not do what he normally does, which is, meet them with exactly the same force that he got hit. Because I think this relationship possibly could be repaired at a later point. I'd hate to see this denigrate even further.
But how do you repair it after comments like I mean, because this Epstein stuff is just BS, you know, like, okay, this number might have been somewhere, something like, I don't know, you know, all because there might be something in the files with somebody's name on it doesn't mean the other stuff, right? So this is very dirty. And why would you do that? It's so petty, you know?
I think that Trump knew Epstein was connected to him through Mar-a-Lago, but Trump kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
Trump might have been on the plane, but he never went down to the island. I don't think Trump is in any way on his client list. He was just connected to him.
And we know that he's not. So well, I mean, I'm not trying to say I know I just mean the circumstantial evidence, and maybe that's for another show, but everything that adds up, if he was, trust me, we would have already known about it from the Biden.
But here's the problem. They had been promising the release of that from the beginning of the administration, and it hasn't happened. So release it. Get it out there. Put this story to rest. Now Democrats are saying release the Epstein files. Democrats are saying, well, maybe we'll take Elon Musk back. So a few weeks ago, Elon Musk was a Nazi. Remember, he gave the salute and they said it was a Nazi salute. Now they're looking forward to take him back. But Trump can forgive. His own vice president compared him to Hitler. So J.D. Vance said some horrible things about Donald Trump. Marco Rubio said some horrible things about Donald Trump. They're his top two people. So this could be possibly repaired. I mean, I think Donald Trump is a very forgiving guy.
Yeah, you know, Jeff, okay. I think it just showed something very bad about Musk. But, you know, look, there's a lot of good stuff that could be said about Musk in terms of the role he's played in the administration so far and how he helped and the free speech and all that. But in terms of, if you look into who his parents were, how he's involved in all this AI stuff, like, yeah, okay, yeah, you can help somebody that was paralyzed and then they'll be able to do this and that. But the other places where that's going, in terms of what AI and all this stuff, it's very much interconnected, many observers say, and theologians are concerned, into some antichrist stuff. Is this your area at all that you would comment? There's a bit of a dark side to what Elon is overseeing. Do you know what I'm referring to?
I agree. I mean, I agree. I'm very concerned about AI, and I think AI could have devastating consequences on humanity. And I'm worried about what it can do as far as job force, as far as the economy. I'm worried about what could happen if it gets out of control and starts being the dominant partner and stops listening to human commands. That's already happening.
Yeah.
So yes, AI is to me a terror, really. I mean, it's a useful tool in some respects, but it can get out of hand.
Well,
now,
look,
Elon Musk, before all this, was a darling of the Democrats.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Democrats are the ones that love these EVs. Democrats were the ones who propped up Tesla. And then, of course, they turned on him when he supported Donald Trump. So his background was as a Democrat. He's not someone that has roots in the Republican Party at all. We welcomed him. We welcomed his money. We welcomed his energy and ideas and his team, his Doge team. But I'm hoping that regardless of what happens with him, that Doge continues. Because I think we need Doge, Jamie.
Yes, absolutely. And just in terms of what I was mentioning, so yeah, okay, somebody that's paralyzed is going to be able to think and then they're going to be able to walk. Okay, that's great. But what happens when, in terms of that power, that they're going to start telling us what to think when they put something into our brain. You know what I mean? There's going to be, when these powers start interfering with our relationship with our Creator and with our free will, something very dark is going to emerge, and Revelations foretells it in many ways.
I think it's emerging very quickly. I mean, I think AI is expanding at a faster rate than most people expected. So it is definitely a danger. And then, of course, he's got robotics. He believes that that is going to be the biggest appliance in mankind's history, that everyone's going to have their own humanoid type robot. That's another questionable sort of development that is going to be occurring. And I don't disagree with him about that. I think that is probably the path that we're going on.
Yeah, we're entering.
He's an unusual guy. He's got, you know, some attributes that I think people can admire. And then there's just some questions. I mean, just some questions.
Yeah, and there's some people of faith that are quite concerned about him, and in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, what role he might be playing on.
It's interesting. In one of his mean tweets, he said, well, Trump's only going to be around for 3.5 more years, but I'll be around for another 4.5 decades.
Yeah.
So what's he talking about?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, the other thing, I mean, he's fathered 14 known children, but there could be literally dozens of others that have been born, and Elon could be the father. So that is very unusual and certainly something that is strange, but that's what he believes in. So he has got a bunch of little Elons all over the place. And just add that to the list of sort of unusual attributes.
There's again, I repeat, in terms of some people of faith and theologians, let's just say there's some concern that there might be some spirit of the Antichrist in some way. And I mean, we don't know who it'll be. I'm not saying he's necessarily that. We don't know. But there could be the spirit of it. And, you know, I'll leave that for the experts. But something's going on there. What do you make of the black eye?
Well, there's a lot of speculation online about what that could be. You know, he says it was his son that hit him, and they were just roughhousing, playing around, and he socked him. I think a lot of people probably don't buy that. You know, President Trump mentioned it, saying that he offered him makeup. He didn't want to use it. He wanted to just be all natural and show everyone he had the black eye. So I don't know. It's just another question.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but, you know, sometimes being a conspiracy theorist helps out, you know, with little things like not getting myocarditis and stuff like that. But I'll just put this out there. I don't know if, you know, but they say that some of these elites that are in, you know, I'm always speaking between the sentences. You know, there's these people that are the elites and the powers that be, and that are involved in some maybe Illuminati or whatever it is that they're doing. But they make their signs, they make their stuff, and they do this stuff with the eye and the black eyes or something. They're always doing weird stuff. So I don't know. Is it maybe some kind of symbol he's sending out or something? I don't know. But another weird chapter. Yeah.
But you're right. But I will give him credit for this. He saved the most important social media platform from horrific censorship. He opened it up to free speech. That was a service to all Americans. It helped Donald Trump definitely win the election. as did his vigorous campaigning and money that he put into the Republican campaign coffers. So he certainly did what he could for Donald Trump. He seemed to put every bit of energy he had into helping to elect Donald Trump for a number of months. And then for the first few months of the administration, he seemed to be working nonstop on Doge and put everything on hold with his businesses, and they suffered. And let's not forget, Jamie, he was attacked over and over and over again by these leftist cretins that went after his dealerships, went after Tesla owners. He said he had death threats galore. He had to have his own security force. So he did suffer for what he did for the Trump administration and the Trump campaign.
Yeah. This is true, Jeff. And I just wonder, there's a disagreement. There's a friendship, we thought. Maybe some things are deep-rooted and we don't know a lot, but we do know that there's such a thing as integrity. There's such a thing as honor. And to have a disagreement and to start saying some of the stuff that he's saying, I don't know. So obviously some of this stuff might be running pretty deep. But some of his comments are nasty.
Oh, I agree. And he's gone way, way, way below the belt.
Yeah.
The president did say that he had sort of worn out his welcome and that he sort of asked him to leave, which is sort of a new wrinkle because we hadn't heard that before. We thought it was just something that had come to an end because the type of position he had. But President Trump said no. He asked him that he, I guess, had rubbed a lot of people the wrong way with his attitude and his tactics, and sort of forced him out. Maybe that upset Elon. I don't know. I just I think this is unfortunate. I really do. I'm very sad to see all this happen, Jim.
Well, it's interesting, Jeff, in our lives with certain individuals in our lives, and they could be great people and everything's going great. But, once you say no to them, it's interesting what comes out of certain people when they hear the word no, and you kind of see a different side to them. So a good friend of mine that has quite a bit of intelligence just right before the show told me, Jamie, this guy's a billionaire. He got told no. So maybe he's not used to it, right?
I think that's a very good point. But let me just add, he's not only a billionaire, he is the richest man in the world. Of all of the 8 billion people we have on the planet, that man is the richest individual in the entire world, which is just sort of breathtaking, amazing to think about. And that he had been doing all of this politically, which was so unusual for him because he hadn't been previously. So I think, I think he probably was used to everyone just sort of kissing his butt and everyone just sort of doing what he wanted. And he did not get what he wanted. The guy was not hired at NASA. He didn't get his EV tax credits in this big, beautiful bill. And the president asked him to, leave from his Doge position. So that probably triggered all of this, Jamie.
Yeah.
It's interesting, Jeff, how a person shows himself what happens not during the good times, but during a fight. And I'm just going to say, I'm not saying that I'm an angel or anything like that, but I've had some falling out with some friends. And the first thing that I don't do is run to social media and start telling their secrets, So there's people that get in a fight and then they kind of reveal their character. And I don't think that Musk is necessarily showing the most honorable side of himself with what he posted on X.
I could not agree with you more.
Yeah.
I think he's damaged his reputation by what he's done. And I don't think it benefits him. I really don't. I don't think he might be the richest man in the world, but Donald Trump is the most powerful man in the world.
Mm.
And I don't think you want to create an enemy in the most powerful man in the world.
I think Trump's got a little bit of a Teflon thing going on too. Like even, because I love Trump. And so I got like a little bit worried for a second, but then I thought, I don't think this is going to hurt Trump too much, but let's see, right?
Oh, I mean, has anybody been through what Donald Trump's been through?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Has anybody been attacked more than Donald Trump? No. I mean, he is the ultimate survivor.
Yeah.
And this is going to roll off of him. I mean,
Yeah.
he's undergone what no other presidential candidate and president in history has undergone. So he'll be fine.
Yeah. But very, very interesting, if that's one word we can use. Something that's not interesting, but actually horrifying. Very wise and wonderful, intelligent people like you have been warning about this for years. I've been warning about this and worrying about it for, I don't want to say decades, because then it reminds me how old I'm getting, but Jihad is in America now. And it's been here, but it's escalating. It's becoming an everyday thing. And that's what happens when you are not aware of what Jihad is, what Sharia is, what their plans towards us are. That's what happens when we have Democrats that open up a border and let in millions of people and we don't even know who they are. So we know that Al-Qaeda and ISIS and Boko Haram and Hamas, and we know they're all here. And God knows what they're planning. And so in D.C., what just happened recently with the shooting of the 2 Israeli diplomats. Now in Boulder, Colorado, they burnt that 88, there is a they, but in terms of what that monster did, including burning an 88-year-old Holocaust survivor alive. And Jihad is here, Jeff. And my fear is that we still don't know the real cause. We don't know what's going on. We've got to look into the motives. And the willful blindness continues. What do you make of all this?
Well, I just want to vouch for what you're saying. Jihad is all over the country, including in a place called New Orleans, Louisiana, which is my hometown. Because just a few blocks from our radio station, we had a terror attack on January 1st. And the perpetrator of that attack was inspired by ISIS. And he mowed down 14 innocent people who were here to celebrate New Year's. He evaded the pathetic blockade that they had on Bourbon Street, which is just one vehicle, went around it, and then just drove down the street trying to kill as many people as he could before he was stopped by a police officer. But he killed 14. And this is someone that was undetected. Nobody seemed to know anything about him, but he had been radicalized. And the FBI caught flat-footed because, of course, they've been spending their last few years going after Catholics, going after parents, going after MAGA, going after President Trump, going after J6 protesters. And this guy, totally undetected. So how many like him are in place all over the country? And I'm worried about terror attacks every day, Jamie. I mean, Biden let in tens of millions of people.
Yeah.
He had 2 million gotaways, Jamie. How many of those are Islamic terrorists? How many of those are Chinese spies? How many of those are cartel members? We don't know. So we've got a real problem on our hands.
And the biggest problem connected to that is because we live obeying the leftist ideology, because the framework of our society worships at the altar of leftist ideology in terms of, when I say equality, all of us are equal in the eyes of God, and we're equal in many ways, but on several realms, not all cultures and religions are evil. Equal, right? And because our society worships at the altar of leftist ideology, we can't say that that's not the case. And so we can never say, it might have something to do with something that the members of the religion of peace are reading might have something to do with what the Quran and Hadith tell the faithful what to do and who to wage war on and who to kill. You know, there's a genocidal hadith in Sahih Muslim, the hadith there. The Quran says certain things about Christians, says certain things about Jews, tells the people that are part of this ideology what to do to Christians and Jews. And it's not to give ice cream and hugs. And unfortunately, Jeff, I don't think that our society, I pray that one day we'll be able to have the guts and the intestinal fortitude to look at that and make certain conclusions and make certain rules about how to, carry our society and who we let in here and what kind of regulations we'll have. But there's a problem there, right?
Well, there's a massive problem. I mean, look what's going on in Minnesota, Michigan. They tried to create this epic city in Texas. Thank goodness we have the border now that's been pretty much shut down. Thank goodness the travel ban was put in place by President Trump. 19 total countries, 12 total bans, 7 partial ban. So he gets it. I think his administration gets it. But we've got to worry about all the ones that have been allowed in here over the years and what they have planned. And I think it's very disturbing. Look at the UK. Look at what's going on in Europe. Look at the problems that they're facing. And that could be us, Jamie.
Well, UK and France are finished. Right? I mean, out of all the problems going on in the UK, and you put Tommy Robinson in prison, you see what's going on in Paris with the riots?
Well, and they want to put Marine Le Pen in prison.
Yeah. So the powers that be that wanted to bring Sharia into the West are succeeding and have succeeded. So this guy here, in terms of what happened in Colorado, this Mohammed Sabri Soliman, if I'm correcting it properly, illegal alien, overstayed his visa, and throwing flamethrowers or whatever he's doing, attacking Jewish Americans. You got to ask yourself, what was this guy doing here? Well, one of the things he's doing here is because the left and the Democrats made sure that he's here, right?
And then when we try to remove people that shouldn't be in here, like his family, judges come forward, the ACLU comes forward to stop what the administration is trying to do. So we're trying to correct the problem. We're trying to deal with it. The judicial tyranny is not allowing this administration to do it. We really have a problem with these out of control judges, Jamie. They're trying to infringe upon the actions of the executive branch. They are way out of control. We have way too many leftist judges across the country. Biden had more judges appointed than Trump did. And these people are all left-wing crazies.
You got that Judge Boasberg, right? That's just made a rule to stop the deportation. But you got to ask yourself, why would judges try to stop the deportation of illegal aliens who are here to kill, to maim, and harm Americans in this country? Why would they do that?
Because I really believe that they don't have the best interests of Americans at heart. I don't believe that people that are here illegally have constitutional rights. The founders didn't write the Constitution for people that were here illegally. Just like what we're trying to do with the big, beautiful bill, kick illegals off of Medicaid. Democrats are howling, people are going to starve, people are going to be without medical care. Well, they're here illegally. They're not entitled to these programs.
Yeah.
And trying to rectify this is just tough sledding legally.
Yeah.
And I don't have much confidence in the Supreme Court. They've been weak. And it's just it's a battle. See, they have a problem with deporting these people that are here illegally. They didn't have a problem with importing tens of millions of people illegally. No judges seem to say anything about that.
The hatred that's in the heart of the left. When you mention the Supreme Court, Jeff, sometimes I have a mental lapse in terms of names. It's Amy Barrett. Am I correct?
Amy Coney Barrett, and
Yeah.
she is a native of my hometown. Yes.
Yeah.
What's going on there? So, if I'm correct, Trump got her in. She was a conservative, and the way that she looks at him, the look on her face, the decisions she's making, did they get to her? Something's going on, right?
You're exactly right. Here's what I know, Jamie. Whenever the Democrats appoint a liberal Supreme Court justice, that justice stays liberal, never varies. Half the time, maybe even 2/3 of the time, Republicans appoint a Republican, so-called conservative Supreme Court justice. That justice turns moderate or liberal, doesn't stay true to conservative judicial principles. Just look at the three that Donald Trump appointed. Only one of them is decent, Neil Gorsuch. The other two have their finger in the wind and are just very weak and are following the lead of John Roberts, another Republican appointee. And the man who just passed away, David Souter, another example of a Republican judicial nominee for the Supreme Court who was terrible. So that's why Donald Trump the other day blasted a guy named Leonard Leo, who used to run the Federalist Society and was the person that was recommending all these judges for him in the first term. Got sold a bill of goods. A lot of these judicial recommendations were terrible, Jamie.
Yeah.
And these judges are not helping in fighting this judicial tyranny. They're part of it.
Yeah.
Jeff, my dad took a stand against the Soviet regime, put his life on the line. I am aware of some threats that were made to my dad over there, also even when we got here. And there was one time he actually had to sit us down because there had been quite a serious threat. Told him to stop saying things about the Soviet regime. And my dad worried a lot about his children, about his wife, about our family, but he wasn't going to surrender to their threats. And so it's a couple times, one time in particular, where he sat us down, had a talk to us about how careful we had to be. But in his heart, he poured his heart out saying he's come too far to surrender to these bastards. And there's some real devils out in this world. And let's not be blind to the threats that they make. So I don't necessarily am connecting this to Amy Barrett or anything specific. But what I am putting out there is what Vladimir Zelenko, the doctor Zelenko, was warning, and he was on my show, and God bless his soul, he passed away. But during that whole pandemic thing we just went through, and the strange things that were going on in terms of what they weren't allowing people to get, to heal, what they were forcing on people, and what some of the people that were supposed to help people weren't. But Zelenko said, there are people in this world that will come to your home and they will say, here is $10 million, and now you do this. And if you do not do this, we will kill your whole family. This is happening every day, and it's happening in situations that we may not expect. So I'm just putting out there, when we see very strange behavior of people that are in leadership positions, it's maybe something we should keep in mind, right?
Oh, I agree. I mean, the deep state, whatever you want to call it, the Illuminati, the Bilderbergers, I mean, the people that have power internationally certainly do control many politicians, many bureaucrats all over the world, which, bringing back to Donald Trump, is so amazing that he got elected in spite of all of this opposition in spite of the fact that he was taking on these type of people that you're talking about. And that's why, of course, they tried to kill him. And I've got no doubt, Jamie, that the 2 assassination attempts were linked to people inside our government and outside our government. I do not for a second believe that those 2 attempted assassins were lone wolves. I think they both had help. And I think it was an effort to stop Donald Trump and what he represents. America first, power to the average American, make America great again, taking on these forces that you're talking about. So, we're very fortunate to have this champion in the White House trying to do what he can do, but we just need to remind ourselves what he's up against. Extremely powerful forces who have probably influenced a slew of politicians and judges. And that's why he's facing so much opposition, because these people are not as strong as he is.
And these people that are involved in what you just said, this is not just some trashy people that might have a gun. These are people with ties and suits and that travel in the highest circles and have a lot of money.
Oh, yes. And power and access and influence. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. It is.
And Trump's threatening the world they're trying to build.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's impacting other countries as other countries elect leaders that are Trumpian, whether it's El Salvador or Hungary or Argentina or maybe Poland just elected someone who was endorsed by Donald Trump. So that's of concern to them as well. This could spread across the world.
Thank you so much, Jeff. So much wisdom always coming from you. We're going to take a quick break with our sponsors.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to announce the next generation of energy drinks, Rev 7. It has no sugar and no caffeine. Instead, Rev 7 uses Go BHB. Go BHB is one of the body's primary ketones, and it provides the most efficient and clean fuel that your body needs. It also helps you stay energized all day with no crashes. Not only that, it produces 3 times more brain energy than sugar, which helps boost your memory, focus, and mental sharpness. It also helps reduce stress and helps balance your mood. Rev 7 does all that while being the best tasting energy drink ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% today. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7. For a limited time, you get our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. I drink Rev 7 every day and I absolutely love it, and so will you.
And that's right. Make sure to go to mypillow.com or mystore.com and use promo code GG21. You can get discounts of up to 60% off all the amazing products. You're going to be helping the Glazov Gang, but I think more importantly, you're going to be helping out the great Mike Lindell, and he's still in a battle with the deep state. So get a pillow, okay, and some other stuff over at MyPillow. If you like one-of-a-kind handmade art, make sure to go to lutfstudio.com and purchase resin art pieces made by our producer, the wonderful and the one and only Annie Cyrus. Use promo code GLAZOF to get special discounts. It helps both the Glazov Gang and Annie Cyrus. We are back with the great Jeff Crouere. Jeff, weird developments over here. Weird developments over here. Now, former White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. This is weird. So now she's going to become an independent. And she's very upset about how Biden was betrayed, I guess. But she was the one that was really... what was that guy, Baghdad Bob, I think, during the Iraq War that was telling everybody that we're almost going to win. We're going to win. The Americans are surrendering like right before they all lose. But, she was kind of keeping up that whole lie, wasn't she? And if I'm correct, now she's saying the party betrayed Biden. Now she's going to become an independent. A lot of Democrats are upset with her now. Something very morbid and dishonest here.
You know, Jamie, I've been observing White House press secretaries for decades, and I rank her at the very bottom. I rank her at the bottom as far as her ability to communicate. I rank her at the bottom as far as her knowledge of what's going on. And I rank her at the bottom as far as truthfulness. So she was terrible. They tried to get rid of her several times. She played her, her race card, her lesbian card. She was threatened by John Kirby. They were trying to, for a while, move him into her position. She made sure that didn't happen. So she lasted, the whole, after Jen Psaki, she lasted the rest of the Biden term. And she provided nothing of significance, nothing useful, certainly never the truth. She was always parroting lies. And I think she was an absolute disaster. And I think if you ask the White House press corps, the majority of the honest ones would say that about her. Now, what is she doing? She is trying a cheap trick, a ploy to try to gain some attention. She wanted to be on The View. She didn't get an invitation to join the quote unquote ladies on The View. So now she's trying to create some kind of a post-White House career for herself. She wants this book to sell. So now she's calling it independent while she says that she is becoming independent, which is laughable. She is the furthest thing from an independent I've ever seen. She parrots the Democrat line on everything. So, yeah, I don't think the book sales are going to do very well, Jamie, and I don't think her career as an analyst is going to go anywhere. I mean, Jen Psaki is on MSNBC, and her ratings are terrible. And she's nowhere near as good as Jen Psaki. So I don't know where she's going to go, Jamie.
It's kind of thank you so much, Jeff. Very profound analysis always. It's always fascinating, haunting, horrifying to watch the demons working for Lucifer and then being caught in something and trying to wiggle out of it. And, during some of the exorcisms, it's interesting. The exorcists say that the demons, when they ask them in the power of Jesus Christ, you have to answer this. And sometimes often when they ask them, and the demons have answered how jealous they are of humans. They're very jealous and envious of many things, but including our affection and love for one another. Because they don't have affection and love from one another. It's just hatred. And there's no love. So they're all working together in that army for Lucifer, but it's all hate. And it's also hate of each other. And the reason I bring that up is, on the one hand, the left seems united on some levels, always fighting for that cause, but there's a lot of hatred between them. There's no real love between them. And sometimes I think I seem like I'm kind of all over the place, but I'm really trying to pursue something here in terms of, when they finally get caught, because they seem like they have this good front. Oh, Biden, he's okay. And like you said in your column, or in many of your columns, he's shaking hands with invisible people. He's asking dead people to come to the front. This guy's gone, right? And he's talking about little kids rubbing the hairs on his legs in a pool. I just can't believe that whole thing is over with. I don't know what, there's some kind of demonic force that was playing a real game on us there, some kind of sadistic game. But they were all saying, oh, no, everything's okay. Everything's okay. And then all of a sudden now Jake Tapper is scrambling and writing some book and trying to, and now, JeanPierre's trying to, so they're all trying to point at each other now, and they all actually really hate one another, and they're trying not to get caught and point at one another. You see what I'm saying here? There's something very evil and pathetic happening when they start trying to say, it wasn't me, it was them, right?
And it was all of them, Jamie, because they were all united in their lies. They were all united in supporting policies that are detrimental, harmful to Americans, harmful to our national security and our economy. And they just wanted the power. They wanted to push this guy out there, Joe Biden. We all knew that he was mentally incompetent. They claimed that, they were cheap fakes, is what they called it. I mean, the evidence was overwhelming, but they lied about it. Now they're trying to say, oh, well, I wasn't part of it. Yeah, they were all part of it. The alternative media, conservative Republicans, MAGA people were the ones that pointed out the obvious about Joe Biden. So now, in the aftermath, they're going to try to figure out something to go forward, but they're all part of the system that created the worst presidency in American history. And we didn't have a president. We had an Autopen. We had a Politburo. We had a bunch of people controlling him. We had a puppet with some puppet masters. And the Republicans better launch a full-scale investigation, Jamie, into what happened, who was behind it, and all the different components of it, because it's the biggest scandal in American history, in my view.
Jeff, remember when Brezhnev, those last couple years, we're not even sure if he was alive. They were saying that they were maybe just carrying this corpse, right? So Biden, I mean, there's a little bit of something similar going on there. So explain this Autopen. The president has to sign something. And now it's turning out that somebody else was signing stuff. And that's actually unconstitutional and illegal. So what is this Autopen thing about exactly? What does it mean? And we got to get to the bottom of it. And when we do, and if some of these things are true, people should actually go to jail, no? And if there's pardons that weren't signed by Biden, what does that mean?
Well, there's several components to this. The Autopen, I think, traditionally had been used for signing correspondence to constituents that wrote into the White House. Then it got expanded under Barack Obama, who's like the first president who I think used it to sign legislation. But he knowingly wanted something to be signed, so it was his intent. The question about Biden is he signed practically no documents by hand. Everything was signed almost by the Autopen, legislation, pardons. And the question is, did he know about all these pardons and all these executive orders and all this legislation he was signing, or were those decisions made by others because he's mentally incompetent? And that's why they're investigating. That's why they're trying to get to the bottom of it. Now, he put out a statement today saying that he approved of everything. And of course he's going to say that. So that needs to be discounted immediately because Biden's a liar, and I don't think his word can't be trusted, and he doesn't even know what's going on. So this is where we have to have oversight, hearings, an investigation, and we have to finally maybe get some indictments and some charges. And some of these people need to be held responsible for what they did. The Autopen wasn't elected president. The Politburo wasn't elected president. It was Joe Biden. And if he wasn't making these decisions, they should have implemented the 25th Amendment. They did not. They should have. They did not. But they wanted to control. They wanted him to still be there and control him. They didn't want somebody else in that position. So we were fortunate to get out of his 4 years without even bigger catastrophes. So thank God that we got through the Biden years, Jamie, without even worse catastrophes.
I can't almost believe that it's over, because it was some kind of surreal, haunting, absurd comedy, and they were tormenting us somehow. But it continues. It continues, like the way that the left is with one another, like how I was saying earlier, you were saying earlier, they play this game together. It's it's the Soviet regime and how they act in the communist meetings. You just watch The View just even recently. It's surreal. And Joy Behar and Whoopi and Sonny is sitting there and the other, and Biden is there and Jill Biden is there. You were such a good boy. You were being a good boy, Joe. You're such a good boy. And he's like, yeah. You're being such a good boy. And he's like, oh, and they're all smiling and nodding. It's embarrassing, but they're continuing it till this day. Now, Jake Tapper, I mean, talk about a lowlife. And if I am correct, the way he treated Lara Trump once on one of the shows, and putting her down for, saying that, implying or inferring that something's wrong with Biden up here. And now he's trying to pretend that he was lied to, right?
He was part of the cover-up. And all these different hosts on, I don't recall one host on CNN or MSNBC or any of these liberal networks coming clean about Biden. None of them did. So they lied throughout the entire term. And now they need to be held responsible for their lies. We've got to get to the truth, Jamie. This has to be uncovered. This is a tremendous scandal. So, I don't know where House Republicans are going, but there needs to be, vigorous attention paid to this. It's hugely important, in my view. And, in the past, Republicans have not been bold. They have not taken the kind of action that they needed to take on these things. So we'll see.
Jeff, it's so hard to see for people like us, justice in this world. It's very rare. And Jesus reminded us, he warned us that when the world hates, remember it hated me first. And Jesus came here and he got crucified by this planet and who occupies this planet. And of course, not all people, but we keep that in mind when we want justice. And we know that justice will come. We know that when Jesus returns, that's when the real justice will come. And but we still hope for a little bit of justice sometimes. And I always wish that there was Nuremberg-style trials after the fall of communism, but there really wasn't. There really wasn't. And that broke the heart of my family and of many Russian people and of all people who suffered under communism. People are still suffering under Castro, etc., etc. But here with this communist experiment here, is it too good to be true? I mean, it would be just so nice to see some of these criminals go to jail,
That's what we've been waiting for. And that's why a lot of us are impatient with the DOJ, impatient with Pam Bondi and Dan Bongino and Kash Patel. We want to see action. I mean, this is a limited window we've got. They need to act quickly. And we certainly didn't see it in the first Trump administration because you had weaklings in the Department of Justice. You had Jeff Sessions, who was afraid of his own shadow. I mean, you had the DOJ turn against President Trump, with people like James Comey. And then he appointed Christopher Wray, who was no better than James Comey. So now we've got some people that we thought were going to be courageous seekers of the truth. And that remains to be seen. So we need action. You're right. We need justice. And I think a lot of Trump supporters are waiting for that. And to see, are we going to have justice, or is it just a one-way street where just Trump supporters get put in leg shackles and thrown in jail and raided by the FBI? Or is it going to be balanced? And that remains to be seen.
Yeah. Jeff, our time is up. In a world of so much smoke and mirrors and so many phony people, it's always such a pleasure to speak to somebody like you who shoots from the hip. And you have a lot of integrity and you're dedicated to the truth. You're a very brave guy. And thank you for who you are. And thank you for fighting for this country and for what is right, for what is good. So it's such an honor to have you part of the gang. Before we go, Jeff, there's people on this edge of their seat right now, and they might not know about you, but they should, and many do. But if they don't, and they want to follow you and check you out, where should they go?
Jamie, thank you again for having me. It's always a pleasure and honor to be on the program. I would love people to go to my website, which is my last name, crouere.net, CROUERE.net, and they can find all my social media, my videos, show information, book information. It's all there. So crouere.net, love for people to check it out and get on board.
May I ask the background of Crouere? Where's that come from?
So we are 7 generations here in New Orleans. Came from France. It's a French name.
Okay.
My dad married a Daubert, so you had my mom married a Crouere, so she was Daubert, so you had French on both sides.
Oh.
A lot of French folks here in Louisiana, Jamie.
What's a book you read when you were young that influenced your journey towards conservatism?
The Hanoi Hilton. I read a book written by Senator Jeremiah Denton, and real hero. He was serving his country, captured, was held prisoner by the Viet Cong, spent years and years in prison. He wrote about his experiences. He was able to survive that, get out of prison, and turn all of that hate and energy into positive work. He loved his country and served as United States Senator from the great state of Alabama. Just a real hero.
Wow, Jeff, you are tugging at my heart, because since I was a little kid, my heart was with the POWs and the MIAs in Vietnam. Up till now, studying, reading, I think that there was also some kind of betrayal of the missing in action there, but we're going to have to save that for another time. But there was some kind of betrayal of the people we left behind.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, I think we left behind people, and I think it's a travesty how that whole thing was conducted, and that's another show. We can get into that.
Yeah.
I don't think you and I are fans of Jane Fonda and what she did over there, right?
No, indeed. No, indeed.
Jeff Crouere, keep up the good fight, and we'll see you soon on the Glazov Gang. Everybody go to ringsidepolitics.com. We'll see you soon. Good night.